Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am back for another Slim Sports interview. And as always, I'm your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today is a dynamic running back from Northwestern. He has battled through adversity to get this far, and he is still going, making his way to the pros, going to make some money to his name while continuing to run down defenses' throats and get to the end zone. Ladies and gentlemen, 5'10" running back, Cam Porter. What's going on, Cam?
What's going on, man? Happy to be here. Appreciate you guys for having me.
Hey, absolutely, man. Beyond blessed to have you on. You've had an incredible story, an incredible career over the past couple of years during your tenure with Northwestern, sticking it out with that program in a day and age where everyone seems to be entering the transfer portal left and right. You hung with the Wildcats because you knew that's where you belonged, and you've been able to have an incredible career. And I want fans, viewers that are just now getting to learn your name, see your face for the first time, to get to learn what you've done throughout your career in a quick segment that I like to call Resume Rundown. Going to show off what you do best by doing what I do best, and that's making some graphics. And I'm going to show them that you have been able to make it to quite a few bowl games in your career. 2020 Citrus Bowl champions. Then 2023, you guys made it to the Las Vegas Bowl, won that bowl game as well. And then 2025 made it to the Sports Bowl where you guys won that also. So you have three bowl game championships to your resume. And multiple times throughout your career, you were actually named to the watch list for the Doak Walker Award, I believe, which is given to the best running back. So obviously, people recognize what you can do. People know that you are about winning and trying to help your team out in any way possible. So you've been able to do that for 6 years, I believe. This was your sixth year with Northwestern this past season, battled through adversity to be a top tier running back, not just for the program, but also in the Big Ten. What would you say was that next step you were looking to take going into this season? And what steps would you say you did take this past season?
Yeah, obviously, this year didn't go as planned, but I was really hoping to, just show more of my versatility. Show that I'm, able to catch the ball at the backfield, protect my quarterback, and break off some of those longer runs that you may have not have seen earlier in my career. I definitely was able to showcase that a little bit, in that last game. I had a pretty big run towards the end of the first quarter, man, and ripped it for a long one, man. And that's what I was just hoping to show off, man, and continue to help my team win football games, man. That's what I'm about. I'm about winning, and doing whatever I need to do to make sure that my team is successful.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you said it right there. I mean, you getting those long runs. You had that 43-yard rushing touchdown that, trust me, we're going to be showing that off here in a little bit in a segment we'll get into later. But I mean, on the season, you only appeared in two games before suffering that injury, unfortunately. But you had 137 rushing yards between those two games, had that big touchdown against Western Illinois. But I want to point out you averaged 7.6 yards per rush. So when you were getting the ball, you were moving it downfield. You were getting yards on your opponents. Going against Western Illinois, you had 91 total yards there. And then going against a Tulane team that made it to the college football playoffs, very talented defense there. You put 46 yards on them, 7.7 yards per rush going against the Green Waves. So, like I said, you were able to really contribute in that run game early on. And I know you were able to contribute overall throughout the season with the advice you were able to give to some of these other running backs that were on this team for a Northwestern run game that the past couple of years, you guys have been in the bottom tier of the Big Ten as far as rushing yards per game, just because of how the offensive system was. It was more of a passing offense, it seemed like. And this year, you guys were able to grow that to where you guys were kind of middle of the pack in the Big Ten. Talking real quick about the run game this year and what you would say really contributed to that growth.
Yeah, we definitely took a step in the right direction, regarding our run game. We knew going into this season that's what our identity wanted to be. A tough Big Ten offense that, had the ability to run the ball down your throat. And I think that we accomplished that, as a room and as a team and as an offense. I think it was our identity coming out of last season. Coming out of the 2024 season, we knew, okay, this offseason, we're going to have to find ways to ensure that, the offensive line is getting bigger, stronger, ensure that, the running backs are continuing to get better and making sure that we understood the run schemes. And I think that was another thing, we simplified a lot of things. and I think that helped us as a room and as a team to be on the same page and be very efficient in our run game. So really proud of our room, the offensive line, and then the offense as a whole. This year for what we was able to do on the ground.
Hey, there you go. Love how all you running backs seem to give credit to the big boys up front, rightfully so. Couldn't be able to do what you did without them, so got to shout them out right there. And I mean, the first two games, your production, I mentioned it before against Tulane, Western Illinois, what you were able to do. It seemed like you had that flow. You've been with this program for, the previous 5 years, and you battled through adversity, throughout, and you were closing in on 2,000 rushing yards in your career, actually able to always find ways to put up numbers. Sometimes you guys had a 1-2 punch at that running back spot. Other years, you were, I believe your true freshman year, you led the team in rushing yards for, again, a very pass dominant offense, but able to still prove what you could do. How would you say you felt after those first two games? Obviously, the injury comes along, but how were you feeling during the course of being on the field and, kind of did you feel like it was the best that you had been yet, or what was really going through your mind?
Definitely. I was feeling the best I have, and I was really excited to attack this season. We had really good teams on the schedule that I was excited to go up against, man. But yeah, I was feeling the best I ever had. I had put a lot of work um, into the off season, not only physically but also mentally, educating myself on the game and making sure that I was spending just as much time in the weight room and workouts as I was in the film room. So yeah, it was an unfortunate situation, but I really think that the work that I put in prior to this upcoming season has helped me now that I'm going through rehab and everything like that. It's helped me allow me to be ahead of schedule and do things that I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I didn't take such good care of my body previously going into this upcoming season.
Hey, there you go, man. And obviously, you've been able to take care of yourself, fight through that adversity throughout your career. And that's why you were able to improve your skill set, improve your mindset when it came to attacking the field, attacking opposing defenses. And that's why, even though you only played in those two games, you still had some big time plays that I want to show off in this segment that I like to call Make That Play. Where I'm going to show off what I feel like were your top three plays, top three highlights from this past season. But obviously, I'm just a fan of the stands. I'm just a stats guy. You're the one on the field doing what you do best. And although I feel like I know what number one is, I do want to ask you to double check. What would you say is number one on your list?
All time or just this season?
You know what? Given your situation, let's go all time.
Let's go all time. Okay. Um, Freshman year, Ohio State definitely goes up there. That was a pretty cool touchdown in the Big Ten championship game my freshman year, man. I'm an Ohio kid, so growing up in Ohio, man, that team was, everything, to a kid like me. So being able to go up against them and score a touchdown in the Big Ten championship game was major. Even though we didn't, come out with the win. Another cool, touchdown run was against Duke in overtime. We had kind of a no pull power play that I kind of bounced to the outside and beat a guy to the edge and end up, hitting the pylon, which was pretty cool. And then I'll probably go this season. The 43 yarder against East Western Illinois was pretty cool too. I broke out of a few tackles and found my balance and was able to take it home. So yeah, those is probably my top three, in my career. But definitely appreciate anytime I can get in that end zone.
Hey, absolutely, man. And you were able to get into the end zone this season before wrapping it up, obviously. And that touchdown, yeah, that's at number one on my list for sure. And I'm going to show off the other two plays just from this past season. Obviously, you have a whole lot throughout your career, but I'm going to start off at number three, where this one was also against Western Illinois. You had a 14-yard rush against them where you ran up the gut, utilized the blocks perfectly by the big boys up front, powered through two big time tackles, one at your legs, one dude came knocking at your door, and you still managed to get all the way to the 5 yard line, setting your offense up to score on the very next play. So, able to really help your team get good yardage every single time you were out there, including Tulane, where number two on my list. 25-yard rush against them where you ran down the right side, cutting through the defense like Swiss cheese, managed to go boom, boom, juke some people out, get some yardage downfield once again to get into another, scoring position for the Wildcats there. And then Yeah, number one, definitely that 43-yard rushing touchdown against Western Illinois. You mentioned it there. You broke through quite a few tackles. You ran up the gut, broke through, I believe, three or four of them just right off rip. And they kept trying to get you. One of them, he got you at the legs. You spun around, did a whole 360, and you still managed to get out of there and make your way to the end zone to get points on the board for your team. So those are my top three plays from this past season. And obviously, we could go all day talking about your career, but I mean, it just absolutely incredible. And your career overall, I mentioned the adversity that you've hit, and you had this injury in the 2025 season. You also had an injury back in 2021, I believe, where
Right.
that ended up causing you to miss a majority, if not all of the season. What would you say you learned from that first season-ending injury back in 2021 that you really put into use this past season, already having that kind of challenge presented to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think the 2021 injury was, a blessing in disguise. Learned a lot about myself and, really had to mature and, kind of grow into myself through that whole process. And like you said, it's definitely helped me now. Now that I've already been through one, I know what it takes to recover. I know what it takes to get back on track and feel like myself again. So, I'm definitely well prepared, throughout this whole process. And I'm really excited to continue to attack the process and continue to get myself ready for the next level, man. So, yeah, the 2021 season was unfortunate as well, but it taught me a lot, and I've really grown into who I'm supposed to be, and it helped me attack this process so much easier.
And going through those kinds of challenges, obviously, it gives you another perspective. It gives you another way, another challenge to grow, not just as a player, but as a leader. And obviously, you being a 6-year veteran for this program, you have that knowledge, you have that IQ that you can bestow on some of these younger running backs. I know you guys had a sophomore running back. His name was Caleb, I believe, where he was able to go out there and he really produced in the run game for Northwestern this year. Talk to me real quick about the role that you took on this year off the field, where you were able to give some of that knowledge, some of that wisdom to some of these younger running backs.
Yeah, I mean, I think the really cool thing about our room is we push each other. So we were pushing each other throughout spring ball, throughout the off season, and throughout fall camp. So we were already prepared. Whoever's number was called was going to be prepared, and they knew that we're going to be fully supporting them regardless. And Caleb, it's not one of those situations where we're jealous of one another or we want another guy to succeed over another. Man, that's my brother, and I wanted to make sure that I could do everything in my power to make sure that he had the best year that he could, as well as Joe Hyman. Making sure that guys are just prepared for the game, prepared for the situations, and maybe some things that he might not see on film that I saw on the sideline that I could just remind him when he's in the game, and he fully attacked the situation at hand. So I'm very proud of him, man. I'm proud that he took that step, and the sky's the limit for a kid like that.
Definitely, man, definitely. And I mean, he helped out this team a ton. Obviously, your leadership helped out this team a ton. For a Wildcats team that went 7-6 overall, 4-5 in a very tough Big Ten. Obviously, you got some of the best teams that you guys are going against. You guys were still able to hang tough with quite a few of them, including beating Penn State 22-21. Ended up beating Western Illinois, where you had that touchdown, 42-7 win there, just lit them up and then went to the Sports Bowl. I know you weren't able to participate in the game, but 34-7 win against them for another bowl game win for a program where I mentioned before, you've been able to be a part of three bowl game wins with this program. This your career, the best way that I can put it has been a roller coaster as far as your guys' record. No offense to Northwestern, fantastic organization there, but you guys have had bowl game seasons and you guys have had seasons where you've won only a handful of games. But you've been able to see most recently, two of the past 3 years, you guys have had these bowl eligible seasons, able to go off and grab these big time wins over teams like Penn State. Talk to me real quick as a veteran that has been here over these past 6 seasons, what you have seen as far as the growth and the growth that is yet to come for this organization.
Yeah, I always like to say that Northwestern is a very unique place, and we're very particular about who we bring into our organization, and we always have been. And I'm forever grateful for this place for the things that it's done for me. And that's why like we talked about earlier, it's why I stayed. This is a special place, and I knew when I started here that I wanted to finish here. And I just see continued growth throughout the program, continue steps to more success. Man, we're just a very unique group that we care about each other, we care about the game of football, and we're willing to do anything for one another. The brotherhood is very real here, and it's something that we preach, but it's actually something that we live. And I just think that as we continue to, grow, we got a new stadium on the way. We got different changes going on within the athletics, man, and I'm really excited for, and I know that, you know, things that, foundational stuff that we've, put into the organization is just going to only help continue it to grow and have success in this Big Ten.
Hey, absolutely, man. Definitely have a bright future for this program, and you yourself, you have a bright future as well. You're either still in or have recovered from this injury. I'm not entirely sure, but you're going through this process, obviously pro day, showing what you can do to these scouts, showing that IQ, showing the physical attributes, getting ready to take your talents to the professional ranks. Talk to me real quick about this offseason so far and how you're still attacking it both physically and mentally to really be able to showcase what you can do and go off to the pros for your rookie year, the best version of yourself yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been easy at all, but I wouldn't want it any other way. That's kind of my identity. That's kind of who I am at my core. I'm a grinder. I've been working my butt off since I walked into Northwestern's facility when I was 17, 18 years old. And that's going to continue to be my identity. And as soon as the injury happened, and as soon as I got the surgery and I got my stitches out and I got cleared to get back to work, and that's exactly what I did. Getting up at 5 a.m. before practice to get my workout in. Even though I'm on crutches, I'm crutching around, but getting my upper body workout in, and then going out to practice to help the guys in any way that I can. And then after that, getting my rehab in and doing all of that stuff, man, to make sure that I stayed on track, and I knew that I was gonna have a shot at this next level. So I wanted to prepare myself as best as possible. So I didn't waste any time, and I didn't feel sorry for myself at all. So that's kind of my identity, and that's kind of what I'm all about. I love the game of football. It's done so much for me, and um, you know, with God's blessing, I'll play at the next level and play for some more years. That's the goal.
Hey, there you go, man. Definitely can't wait to see where you go. And I know you've gotten to play alongside a lot of great talent from Northwestern. I know you gave credit to the big boys up front. We talked about that sophomore running back for you guys, Caleb. And I want to give you a chance to shout out some more names real quick. In this segment, I like to call Who's Up Next, where you get a chance to recommend some people to hop on the podcast, tell their story, talk about their careers, just as you're doing now. So who would you say is next up on the Slim Sports podcast?
Yeah, I shout out to all my guys at Northwestern. I mean, you already talked about Caleb Komolafe. You got my boy Joe Hyman, who's also in the running back room. Hayden Elegon is a really solid receiver for us. Griffin Willie. On the defensive side, you got guys like Braden Bruss. You guys like Braden Turner. Robert Fitzgerald. All just really good dudes that care about the game, and I see them, continue to, succeed at the college level and eventually at the next level.
Hey, there you go, man. Definitely can't wait to see what they do. Definitely going to reach out to some of them, get them on to tell their stories, just as you have done so far. And now that we talk about who's up next, we've got to talk about what's next. Obviously, we just mentioned, how you're looking to go into that rookie year in the pros, how you recovered from the injuries, you're bouncing back, already getting those workouts in to get back in shape physically and mentally, do what you do. How would you describe your style of play and how you feel like it's going to really fit into the professional ranks to where even though this past year there may not be a lot of film on you, and now, obviously scouts are going off of recent film more than anything nowadays, it seems like. How do you feel like you can still contribute for a team at the next level?
Yeah, I think that I'm a NFL back through and through. I'm very complete in my game. I can catch the ball at the backfield. I can run between the tackles. I can run, zone schemes. I can run, duo schemes, different schemes that I can run and I can succeed at, which I've shown on film. And I can also protect the quarterback, which is very important at the next level. That's very key is protecting your quarterback and keeping him clean. And I pride myself on that. And I truly believe that I've acquired all the skills to be successful at the next level. I've been playing against the best of the best since I was 18 years old. The Big Ten, that's the best you're gonna get. So I've never ducked competition. I invite it, and I have a lot of knowledge of the game. I've seen a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things, and I think that is going to help me at the next level as well. Being a guy that has experienced a lot of football, and a guy who cares about the game, and a guy who's very knowledgeable of the game, and has a deep understanding of it.
Hey, there you go, man. Definitely can't wait to see who is going to take a chance on you because I know that when you are back to 100%, you are going to be dangerous, able to break off for these big time yardage touchdowns that you are going to be soon known for doing, that you were already known for doing at Northwestern. Let's be honest here. I know you don't give yourself enough credit, but I've seen the film. You are a dog through and through, been able to compete at the highest level in college football, and soon going to be able to do that in the NFL, man. Beyond blessed to be able to get you on to tell your story, talk about your career on the Slim Sports Podcast today, man. Beyond blessed. So thank you so much for hopping on for this fantastic interview.
I appreciate you, Jay, man. Keep this thing going, man. Hope to talk soon.